Ignition sequence starts. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Liftoff. We have a liftoff.
Hey everybody, this is the Digital Asset Investor, and CoinPaprika.com is pretty boring right now. We've got an XRP that's dying to cross 50 cents, but it just keeps hitting a wall. So we're going to move on from that. I will show you this. Mr. Whale, he says his portfolio, he's talking about a stock there, but here, crypto XRP, current price 49 cents, his target is 3. I like it. Why? Ripple will win the lawsuit equals XRP pumps. Winner, winner, chicken dinner. Is that Charlie Sheen that said that? I want to show you something because we live in a world of media lies now. We live in a world where our government lies to us. We're surrounded by lies. And I want, especially you young people out there watching this, I want you to see what it was like when the truth was being told. This is Milton Friedman, and he's talking about inflation. Listen to it's 2 minutes, 17 seconds. Listen to every single bit of it if you want to know the truth about about money and what is really happening in this country and in the world. This is the truth.
Great Depression was not produced by a...
If you hear anything crunching while you're listening to the truth, it's me eating peanut M&Ms.
Business. On the contrary, it was produced by a failure of government, and a failure of government in an area in which responsibility had been assigned to government since the founding of this country. The Constitution of the United States. It gives Congress the power to coin money and set the value thereof. And it was in the management of this fundamental function of government that government failed and produced the Great Depression. We have learned from that failure. The Federal Reserve will not fail in the same way again. This time it will fail in a different way. This time it has been failing, not by producing a Great Depression, but by producing an inflation. Because just as you will hear the story that it was business that was responsible for the Depression, so you will today hear the story that it is labor and management that are responsible for inflation. It is the same kind of a myth. Inflation is made in one place and one place only, Washington, D.C. And in Washington, D.C., the chief source is a Greek temple on Constitution Avenue, which houses the Federal Reserve Board. And a major accomplice, of course, sits in the halls of Congress in Washington. They are a major accomplice because you tell them to be. The American people have been telling Congress for many years, spend more money on us, please. But they've been telling us, don't raise our taxes. Congress has been listening. It's been spending more money on you. But on the other hand, it's been very unwilling to raise taxes. As a result, it has imposed inflation as a tax. That's one tax that you don't have to vote for, but you have to pay. Well, again, with respect to money, can you print money at no cost? It's very cheap to turn out those pieces of paper. But does that get society something for nothing? Not at all. It's simply a different form of taxation. If you print money, people have more money to spend. If they spend more money on the same amount of goods, prices go up. And in effect, everybody is paying a tax through inflation. Once again, it's only a form of taxation.
Exactly, folks. They tax you. They tax you through inflation because that way they don't have to vote for the tax increase and they can stay in office. There's only one way around it, folks. It's gold. It's not Bitcoin. In fact, I'll take it a step further. I believe the government or governments created Bitcoin for the purpose of distracting you away from gold. Because physical gold, I buy physical gold and I buy in my Glint. Glint's one of my sponsors, and I buy in my Glint account. I've got the debit MasterCard so I can spend it. That way I'm protected both ways. I can hoard my physical gold in case it really gets bad, but I also have my spendable gold in case these banks decide they're going to declare a bank holiday and I can't get access to my money, which has been devalued. The link to this will be in the top of the description of this video, folks. Go click on it, tell them DAI sent you. Now, Stuart Alderoty, who is Ripple's general counsel, he did a podcast with this lady, Nikki Kristoff. Ripple's $100 million defense against an SEC lawsuit may be crypto's best chance for regulatory clarity. I took a clip from this, a 46-second clip, where he's talking about how a Ripple win in summary judgment would be a huge win for the industry. Listen up.
You have recently filed a motion for summary judgment, which means you're trying to get the court to toss the case against you by the SEC. Just based on what you said on its face, the law applies in a certain way. If this is successful, the motion for summary judgment, that's a huge win for the industry because it does give some clarity.
I'm going to repeat what you said. It's a huge win for the industry because it finally gives clarity to the industry about what the limits of the SEC's jurisdiction are. And the SEC, I think, will be exposed for, again, not looking to faithfully apply the law, but what they're doing is looking to remake the law. And I go back to what I said earlier. An agency can't remake the law. Only the legislature can remake the law.
Yes.
Exactamundo. Now, we're going to talk about a different topic. Yesterday, you may remember, I think there was a Charles Gasparino article going around where he was saying that the SEC staff was complaining because Gary Gensler is trying to get more attention for himself and is more worried about getting the Treasury job from Janet Yellen than he is about his own job, and that it's all about a career move for him. Well, I just wanted to tell you there's a real scenario here where Gary Gensler not only settles with Ripple, but ends up at the Treasury. There's also a real scenario where the XRP escrow is involved in a settlement. Now, who do you think let's think this through for a minute, because I know there's a lot of people, oh, that's crazy, whatever. Well, let's think this through. If you really believe, which I do, if you really believe that XRP would be a global, but a global reserve currency and would be a bridge currency to the world and would replace Nostro Vostro accounts. If you really think that's in the cards, you have to ask yourself the question, would the U.S. government, if that was the case, not just the U.S. government, but with the U.S. government and other governments around the world, not demand that they had their piece of the pie in that scenario? For their existence, for these central banks' existence going into the next 100, 200 years? Of course they would. In the United States, who would be in charge of managing that piece of the pie? So my point is, in this settlement, is it not crazy to think that there would be some kind of agreement as to what happens with that XRP escrow, or at least some of it? That's just what I believe. Well, so the scenario is like this. What if there is? And then what if Gary Gensler then goes to the Treasury right after that settlement? What if that is his trophy? And then what if he goes to the Treasury and is in charge of managing ultimately that same escrow, or whichever part was a part of the agreement? These are all what ifs. I'm not saying it's going to happen. I'm just saying what if. It's not some crazy idea that the idea that this XRP escrow would be the target of this whole lawsuit, or a part of the target. This is Jeremy Hogan and what was this guy's attorney Seal. Listen to what they're both attorneys. Listen to what they say. They were on Digital Perspectives back in February.
If somebody was to realize that XRP could potentially, replace, or sort of displace the U.S. as having, the global reserve currency of the world. I mean, what better way than to secure, 50 billion of that asset to ensure that the U.S. remains, the sort of, bastion of sort of financial direction that the world takes, right? So I mean, again, a lot of things have to go into place, but I mean, it is nice. I always need something to hang my hat on, whether, and that's what judges look for too, right? I mean, you always look for some type of theory that you hang your hat on. And I guess that was the whole point behind what I put forth there, right? Is that, hey, it may not be happening, but it's definitely a possibility. And when you start looking at things that sort of have come into play, why would the SEC bring a lawsuit against Ripple, 7 or 8 years after the alleged incident, and then the commissioner that heads the commission quits the next day, and most of the commissioners are gone, and you've kind of got a bunch of people in an ill-timed lawsuit, asking for the wrong things. I mean, it makes you wonder if it's just a delay tactic to sort of, for something greater. So, again, it is all speculation, but certainly as a lawyer, I mean, we just try to make our best sense of things. And sometimes when things piece together nicely, I mean, they make a good argument to hang your hat on, right, Jeremy?
Absolutely. Well, what Seal just said is, I'm not one to rain on a good speculation parade, so I'm going to go with you guys here. So
speculation parade.
Here's my take on it. So if the U.S. government wants the escrowed XRP, it will have it. Mm-hmm. There's no doubt about it. There's no doubt in my mind. And I think most U.S. citizens that aren't involved in law in any great detail don't realize how exposed we are to our government. There's only two things that separates that XRP, if the government wants it, from Ripple and the government. One, there's your vote, because if people think that they're going to lose their vote and get kicked out of office if they do something, they won't do it. And two, there's the U.S. Constitution.
All right. So I just wanted to remind everyone, these are the people at Ripple who were with the U.S. Treasury at various times. Susan Friedman, right here. I'm just reminding you. She was senior advisor to former Assistant Secretary for International Markets Heath Tarbert at the U.S. Treasury Department, at the Department of Treasury. He went on to be the CFTC chairman. Rosie Rios, over 30 years of experience, served as the 43rd Treasurer of the United States and was the CEO of the Bureau of Engraving and Printing and the U.S. Mint. Her name is on your money, very likely. Craig Phillips, he was counselor to the Secretary, U.S. Department of the Treasury, January 2017 to January 2019. And Michael S. Barr, former Treasury official, who is now at the Federal Reserve. Charles Gasparino put this out a little bit ago. The authors are here making the same point I've been making. If Gary Gensler wants to protect investors, he should be going after the obvious and blatant manipulation of meme stocks like AMC by the MOAS crowd. Anyway, look, I think that Gary or any other SEC chairman should go after fraud first in crypto right now. And look what the tweet she did. I believe it was, I don't know, but the surface of it looks like it was probably like a pump and dump type situation. I could be wrong, but it was one of those. What she was promoting is one of those things that I see come in my email every single day. Thousands of these things. I could have taken tons of money on thousands of them and never have, because you can smell it a mile away when it's not right. And you could see it in the tweet she did too. There's some things you just don't do. But anyway, those things should be gone after. But that doesn't mean that promoting anything in and of itself is bad. As long as you're disclosing that it's a sponsor or that, it's sponsored material, that's what's important. Now, Wheezy brought something to everybody's attention I wanted to make sure we all knew. I didn't even know two of these. Videos that are still missing. Speaking of, talking about going after things that are potentially criminal, all right? How about criminal conflicts? Why is Gary not going after this? Why is he not standing up and saying, I demand that my inspector general, or whatever they call it at the SEC, investigate this? Why is Congress not saying the same thing? These are the videos that are still missing. And it's sickening and it's a shame that this Ripple case is still going on, and this does not get to be seen before the judge rules on it. William Hinman, 2018 Tech GC. William Hinman and Aaron Wright, 2019 Cardoza. Jay Clayton and Kristen Johnson of the CFTC, 2022. Jay Clayton and Joe Grunfest, 2022 at Goldman Sachs. Valerie Chapinick, Senate, 2018. These are still missing, folks, and that's the fact, Jack. I'm the digital asset investor. I'm not an investment advisor. This is for entertainment purposes only. Please subscribe, hit the like button, and tell your friends and family that all 5 of these videos are still missing. Where are they, and why don't they want us to see them?